not that I actually do this, but if I had like a picture where I took a mental snapshot where I said, these are, today everything went well. This was one of the best classes ever. Yesterday wouldn't have been in that picture. All right? But today is going to be in that picture. And the reason I can say that and actually say it with confidence is what I did last night was I went home and built you all a database. So we actually do have 500 customers in our database. We have 75 employees. We have 500 different loans. And we have 8 categories of loans. I learned more about Excel last night than I ever knew because I was generating random junk all over the place. And I had to combine fields together. And I'm like, geez, can you do this? Thank God for Google. All right, because you can. All right. So what I'm going to ask that you do right now, and I've already done it, is just start up a new project. I just called mine loan. Suppose if you have one called loan, you'll call it something else. But I just started a new project and called it loan. I made it an empty project. And even though right now I'm not going to put anything in there other than the database, what I'd like you to do is just put an empty form on it, default.aspx. Don't worry about NuGet. Don't worry about anything. Does all that make sense? So just do that, and then we'll take it from there. Everybody got that done?
My computer is super slow.
Just today? Just today it's super slow?
Every day.
Just those days that end in a Y. Well, while we're waiting for Amin's computer, let me just show you. I emailed you a folder before a class that has about 5 files in it. The first one is right here. These are the 4 tables that you're going to create, okay? Don't start them yet, though, because there's a couple things I want to say before you do. All right, then, like I said, what I did was, I guess in some ways, I never cease to be amazed when I go out and I try to Google something that you can find almost anything, and you really can. All right? Well, this wasn't hard. Coming up with 8 categories to insert, to put into the table. These are just ones I made up. You may not agree with them, but I said home, auto, boat, business, wedding, college, motorcycle, and personal. I figured that pretty much covered everything. You may or may not agree with that. But then I had to come up with customers. So I went online yesterday. This thing that you see right here, it actually doesn't look that bad. It's taken from here. But I went online yesterday and I basically went in and keyed in the equivalent of I want 500 records for a database. And I was able to find one that didn't charge. Most of them charged money for them. I wasn't going to pay anything. So I was on there, and That's what I ended up doing. And it had most of the fields I needed. Not everything, but most of it. Most of them had, for instance, in the customers here, I found a database that had a first name, a last name, an address, a city, a state, a zip code, an email address, and a phone. That was a pretty good start. All right. Then I went in and found another site where it would generate social security numbers randomly for you. Now, I hope I don't have any that repeat. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But I know that my IDs don't repeat. I know that, but it's possible that a social security number does. I didn't look over these. With 500 of them, I just didn't have the time. All right, no excuse. I just didn't have the time. All right, so then I went in and I said, okay, this wasn't hard, because what I ended up doing was changing for the preferred method. I made it a 1, a 2, or a 3. We can work with that later, okay? But I just made it a 1 or a 2 or a 3, and the reason that I did that was then I could run the Excel ran between function to give me a random number between 1 and 3. All right? Now, if this bothers you, what did we have? We had phone, email, and text. Okay? You can, if you want to do this, you don't have to, but if you want to do this, you could go back into the data for that, and you could check and find everywhere that you have this and change those to, phone, email, or text. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Like I said, I was just happy to get this done. All right. And with the veteran status, I just had a random number between 1 and 2. Okay? So then I had to go and take all of this information, and after I did that, then I like I said, I had to add their social security numbers, then I had to add these. Now, to get this to work, and please listen to this, because I didn't want us to have to type in stuff. I didn't want to have us type in 500 records here, 500 records here, 75 records here, 8 records here. That ends up being what? 1,083 records. I didn't want to do it any more than I wanted you to do it. So when you are doing this, remember how we set up the ID and we changed that identity specification? Remember that? Don't do it. Don't do that. Because we're manually putting all that stuff in here. And I was online last night and this morning reading, how can I do this? How can I circumvent it? And one of them said, oh, just set this setting off. No, that didn't work. So finally I said, the hell with it. I'm just going to manually put that in there, and I'm not going to set it. Boom, it worked just fine. All right? So do not set that identity specification. It's false by default. Leave it false. Okay? So the paper that I just gave you, and I'm going to quickly show you this. This is what I just gave you. So what you're going to have to do, in fact, we can all do it together right now. So wherever you are, and it doesn't matter that I'm not exactly where you are, right mouse click on your project name and choose Add, and this time choose Add ASP.NET folder. If you're confused, look on the screen. It's right there. The folder I'd like you to add, unless you already have, is App Data. All right, so going all the way over, see, mine is grayed out because I already have added the app data. Make sense? Any problem with that? All right. Then, once you've done that, you've got the app data, then right mouse click on the app data folder, choose Add, and notice when you choose Add, if you go down near the very bottom, it says SQL Server Database. Okay? So choose SQL Server Database. I already have it. Okay, so again, I'm not doing it. And it'll ask you for a name. Now, I just called mine LoanDB for Loan Database. As you can see right here. Feel free to do the same thing. You could call it Loan, but you should really call it something that reflects what it is you're doing with it. Yes, sir.
Mine, I don't see SQL Server.
Okay, if you don't, you should, but if you don't, try this then. Right mouse click on here, choose Add, go to New Item. All right, you'll probably have to go over to Data here and see if you can find SQL Server database there. Does that work?
Data, yep.
Okay. And like I said, call it something like loan DB, whatever. All right? So, am I right now in assuming everybody has created the project, everybody has gone in and created the app data folder, and everyone has gone in and created a database? Is that correct? All right, then when you look over here, yours won't look like mine, all right? Yours will be empty in here, but you should have now, you have to do a View Server Explorer, and you can keep that open all the time because you should not have to use the toolbox for anything today. So View Server Explorer, and hopefully yours looks like this. If you do have a red X here where it says loandb.mdf, if you do have a red X there, right mouse click on it and choose refresh. If you don't have a red X there, you don't have to refresh. All right? I think you should do these in order. In other words, I would start by right mouse clicking, going to tables here, right mouse clicking on tables, and go to add new table. All right? And Brady would be proud of me because I did all these today. I did all my updating. I did not even get a warning on anything. Everything came up right away. All right? I would recommend that you do it in this order. So in other words, the easiest thing for you to do is to remove this and use all lowercase, type categories in there. I'm not going to do that because I already have a categories table. All right? In fact, I probably could bring mine up and just show you what it looks like. Okay? So there is my categories table right there. So all I did, because it's a very small table, was I came in, I changed ID. Again, as I said, I made everything lowercase. All right, I'm not sure why that says clustered, but you don't have to put that in. All right, I made that ID, kept it as int, called that category description, made that nvarchar 50, none of the allow nulls, click update. All right, make sure that you change the name here. Change it to categories. Again, you don't have to type this primary key clustered. Don't type that in. I think that was added for me when I set up the primary keys later. All right. So pretend that line isn't there. So all you have to do is come up here. Let me move that mouse. That should say ID. Again, it was a capital I. I made it a lowercase I. Keep that as an int. Call this category description. That actually is much bigger than what's needed. But I just figured if you're a loan company and you're trying to think toward the future, maybe there'll be something, some weird kind of loan that somebody needs, for whatever reason, and that weird kind of loan is going to be longer, so that's why I made it 50. All right? So once you've got all that, click your update. And while it generates, it should come up then and say, you should have the box that comes up, and it should say update database in that box. Click the update database button. If this isn't working, you need this because you're taking a test on this. So if it isn't working, you have to let me know. All right? Because if it doesn't work, you're not going to be able to take the test. That's not a threat. I mean, that's just the way that it is. All right. If you've done that and you've updated the database, you can close that file. You can close the file. All right, after you've done the update, you can close it. And I can close this too. Let's see, whatever I got open. Then you can right mouse click on here. Now, before you do this, open up the email I gave you. All right, everybody, open up the email that I sent you. It's in a zip file. Unzip it, throw it on your desktop or someplace where you can get to it quickly. Because all the information that you need to add your data is in there. Unless you want to type in 1,083 records, all right, which I don't think you want to do. Again, save it to your desktop or wherever you normally save stuff and unzip it. After you've unzipped it, there should be some files in there, and one of them, I believe, is called categories insert, something like that. Dot text. I just kept it as a text file. Okay? If you open that file, it's going to look like this. Not that. Not that. Not that. It looks like this. All right? And what that says in English, you may or may not remember this. You may or may not remember this from when we worked on this stuff last semester. This says insert into the categories table. The first value is the ID. The second value is the category description. We put those in the parens, the word values. Then each one of these has to be in their own set of parens, and it should ideally end with a semicolon. So the first record will be home, the second will be auto, the third will be boat, fourth business, fifth wedding, sixth college, seventh motorcycle, eighth personal. Does that make sense? All right. Then I recommend you do it like this. This is the way I did it, and I had no problems with it. And that is, I went over to, if your categories table is not showing under tables, then right mouse click on the tables folder, right mouse click on it and choose refresh. After you do that, it should show you the categories table. All right, if it wasn't showing previously. Then right mouse click on that categories table and choose new query. All right, that's going to bring this up. After you get done, go over to here, grab this, Control A, Control C, come back in and paste it in. It scared me the first time I saw that all that stuff was red, but evidently this editor makes strings red. Okay? And it's funny, you may or may not have looked at all the junk I had on that spreadsheet, but I went and did everything last night. I was so freaking proud of myself until I realized this morning that in this relational database management system, they don't take double quotes to put in their information, they take single quotes. You're like, well, that's not a big thing. You just go in and manually change it. So that's what I did. Okay, I went into the first database, not this one, the one with 500 records, and I changed all the double quotes to single quotes. Doesn't sound bad, right? Except that in Excel, if you start something with a single quote, it says left justify. It doesn't keep it as a single quote. So I needed 2 single quotes. So what I'm telling you is I had to go back and I spent a hell of a lot of time fixing this thing up so that it wouldn't work. All right? So if you've done all that and you've copied it in and you click the green arrow up here, down here if it says 8 records inserted, it worked. If it doesn't say that, you have to let me know.
It says 8 was affected.
Or affected, okay.
That's right.
All right. Thank you. Affected, not inserted. I'm not going to run it again because I already have those records in there. But I'm showing you, okay? Now, just so you know this, this is going to sound weird. All right, this is going to sound a little weird, but if you look up whatever you're working on now, it's got a name up there. It says something like SQL query.sql or something like that. Click the X by it to close it, and it's going to say, do you want to save it? No. No. So say no. Why? Because we've already inserted the records, correct? All right. Go back to your table, right mouse click on your table, and choose refresh. All right. After you've done that, then right mouse click on the table again and tell it to show the data or whatever the heck that command is. And then you should see your records in there. All right, so you should have 8 records, correct? All right. Then we're just going to keep doing this. So if you've got all that stuff in, then right mouse click again under tables, choose add new table, and this one, change it to customers. All right, so you're adding another table, change it to customers. In fact, I will bring mine up. Can you read that well enough from back there? Ivy, Dominic, can you see that well enough? I can try to blow it up. I don't know if it will or not. It doesn't blow up. I mean, I can show it to you down here too. We can look at it on this stuff, but hopefully that's big enough. If you say, well, I can't read it, you've got it in front of you. That's what's, I didn't give it to you, so you don't have it in front of you. Here are the schemas. This is each schema. So if you can't read the names very well, or if you can't read the sizes or the types very well, all right, then hopefully you can read them okay on here. Well, that's from yesterday. No, that's it. Okay, no. So again, if you can't read it well, you've got that information. It's this second table that's right here. You've got all that stuff right here. Whatever is the easiest way for you to read it.
Do you want the email as well instead of not null?
Oh, the email, yeah, I guess I left mine as not null. It's not gonna matter because you've got actually emails for everybody. But if you wanna leave it, the null on there, you can do that, all right? Now, just so you see this, once you've got all those fields in there, remember, you click update. When you click update, you'll have to you'll click the button that's towards the bottom right that says update database. All right? And I'll come right back to this, but please look on the screen. After you do all that, you want to find the file that's called customers. And that's this one. It's this ugly monstrosity here with 500 records in it. You're going to want to copy all of it and put that into another new query.
You want to X out of it, right? You want to X out of it whenever you're done.
When you're done, yes. Yes, you should be able to close it after you've saved it. And again, you can right mouse click, tell it to refresh, and you should see your second table there. Then you can right mouse click on that second table, that one you just put in, choose, create new query, and then copy in the entire thing from the customers.txt file that's in that email I sent you. And you'll have 500 customer records in there then. This is part of your test that you are taking right now. So, probably you'll be 25% of your test. So if you set up each one of these tables correctly, and you set the database up, then you're already starting with positive points.
We were gonna go over that last assignment.
The BMI one, yes, we can.
Just wondering, so it's-
The only thing is, I didn't get my totals page to print. But everything else works, and I know what the problem is, I don't know how to fix it. I was Googling all weekend and couldn't figure out how to fix it. So has everybody got this part of it done right here? Yes?
No.
Okay. Is it the computer that's
Yeah,
slow?
It's the computer.
Okay, it's not a mean that's slow, it's the computer. The good news is, this is the biggest table. The next two don't have as many fields in them, so. Now has everybody finished? Yes? All right, so if you look up on the screen after you've updated, remember when you click update, it's going to bring a box in here, and then toward the bottom it'll say update database, and you click that. Then that should have been updated. Then you can go back to your tables, so you can close this, and you can go back to your tables, and you can right mouse click and choose refresh again. When you do that, you should now see the customers table in here. Then you can right mouse click on the customers table, choose new query, go out to the email that I sent you, find this file that's called, this one is customers insert.txt. So we already did this one. So we're now up to customers insert.txt. Highlight that entire file, so that's this one right here. Copy it to the clipboard. After you've copied it to the clipboard, paste it in where you just told it that new query to go. And then after you've done that, click the green arrow that's in the upper left-hand corner. So take this, Control A, Control C, come back over to here, paste this whole thing into here, like that. You'll be pasting in 500 records. When you get done, click the arrow up towards the upper left-hand corner that says execute, and it should say 500 records affected. Affected, correct? All right. If it does, you can close that query. And if it says, do you want to save? Say no, because you don't have to. You've already done the insert. All right? Then again, when you go back and right mouse click on your set of tables and choose refresh, then you go back and right mouse click on customers and you choose show table data. It should show you all 500 customers, as you can see right here on the screen. All right. Once you've done that, go down to the next one. So right mouse click again on the name of your tables folder, choose add new table, and this time add employees. And you're good, you know that you see there's a lot of duplication here. I set it up like that on purpose. Hopefully it goes without saying then that after you put in the employee stuff, that you're going to go over, find the employees file that's here. Employees insert, that's got 75 records in it. Yeah. Oh yeah, you should type in all that stuff.
I did, I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure.
Yeah, if you've gotten down to the last one, and you should put in those foreign keys. All right, that, I literally took that off the other one, you know, after I put it in, so. You can either type it in, or you can right mouse click on the side where it says foreign key, and there's an add foreign key there too. Either one of those will work. Yeah, so again, when you get to the last one, there it is up here, and that's the loan details. And if you could all stop for a second, unless you've already finished, and take a look up on the screen here. Oops. When you put in this last one, this loan details, if you'd all please look on the screen, make sure either you key this stuff in on the bottom part, or you right mouse click along the upper right hand corner. It's got a thing there that says foreign key. And if you right mouse click, you can choose add foreign key, and you can do it like that too. So there's two ways that it can be done. But make sure you put in the foreign key information. That's going to allow us to do the joins without having any problems. All right. So there's the loan details. And once you finish that, I think you've earned yourself a break. It's 1:22, around 1:45, I'll start back up. So if you've got a slow computer, or if you're having a bad day, or whatever, hopefully you have enough time, you know, to finish it during that time, okay? So let me just grab this.